Hey guys, King of Charmander here. Today I will be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And today, I must ask you to get on your knees, because you and I must bow down to an absolute god, and his name is Bidoof. Bidoof, or God Doof, actually, is going to have its own special Little League -500 cup. If there's anything Niantic has made recently as far as moves go that I approve of, it is definitely this one. Bidoof is a worthy Pokemon to have its literal own special meme cup, where Bidoof is the only Pokemon allowed. So in other words, you can only bring gods. You cannot bring Loki, you cannot bring Hercules, you cannot bring Ares, the god of war. You must bring Bidoof. So, as you see here, the god, the ultimate god, the god of gods, the king of kings, the world of worlds. Yes, that was a WWE reference, by the way, because Triple H, you know what I mean? But anyways, if you had to summon a servant, as in Fate Order reference, if you are actually the Fate series reference, if you watch anime, is a worthy servant of goditude, or god of servitude, or whichever one you want to do it. So anyways, for this event, so if you really want to participate in the Bidoof event, I don't recommend you do it if you climb, but if you're looking for a little bit of fun, there's actually a technical analysis into the deep. There is a technical analysis and a preferred IVs. This is where IVs will matter. Literally one of the cups where IVs matter. Literally matter so much is because you're only allowed to use the same species. As you see here, there will be an event for Bidoof. Its shiny is released for Bidoof Breakout, and it's going to be from the 26th to July 1st. So for 6 days, you're going to be able to catch Bidoof. Now, as you see here, I have this highlighted right here, but as you see, on certain days, there's going to be exclusive moves. None of these matter. They really don't. If you want to, as you see here, from these days, as you see right here, you'll be able to use a charge TM to teach Bidoof any of these attacks. So from 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. The good thing is, none of them actually matter. So, it doesn't matter if you give your god these moves, it's still going to be an absolute freaking god. It's going to be the god of gods, the eater of worlds, the destroyer of worlds, and the Pokemon that will rule over the entire universe, the galaxy, and every single thing in existence as you know it to right now. Literally. But again, none of these attacks will matter, just because Bidoof is that overpowered. But Bidoof actually already has like one of the best movesets, and we're gonna go over that later. But yes, you can get Bidoof. You're gonna get a Bidoof. You could get shiny Bidoof, and then you could get the exclusive attacks. You can get them for collection, but other than that, like I mentioned before, they don't really matter. All right, so here's Bidoof. Bidoof is a normal type Pokemon. As you see here, it doesn't max out. You don't have to spend XL candy, so you don't need XL Bidoof candy to get the best Bidoof for -500 for the Little Cup, or Little Cup CP. Which is really good, because even though I would spend the candy for Bidoof because it's a god, you don't need to, which is good if you want to save Stardust. So Bidoof for level wise, as you see here, it's gonna be around level 23 to 28, I think. I think 28's the max, 28 to 29 is like the maximum level. So again, you won't have to use a Bidoof with like a level 40 Bidoof, whatever. So it saved us. You also don't really need a second move. In a sense, Bidoof does its best work with just Grass Knot. Grass Knot is the lowest move it has as far... Grass Knot and Hyper Fang are both, like, two moves that you probably would necessarily need as far as, like, doubling up. But in a sense, you don't really need to, like, Elite TM it. Literally, most of it's gonna be, like, tackle damage, and like I said, it's not really that much of a priority. But anyways, if you are curious, the best moveset is actually going to be Hyper Fang and Grass Knot. Even though just because both of them are the same, like, Hyper Fang you get stabbed, Grass Knot, both of them are 50 energy. So you don't need two moves, you could literally go through this cup by just having Tackle and Hyper Fang. As you see here, Tackle and Hyper Fang will give you the most bang for your buck, and will be the most powerful moveset for the Bidoof Cup, so you don't really need to get one. Now, there's no real point to go over its weaknesses and resistances. Bidoof is resistant to fighting. I mean, it's weak to fighting. You can fight all you want, but Bidoof will murder you. It will murder you just like the Purge. It will murder you just like... let's see, what's a good reference? Like Resident Evil. Like Bidoof is like the god of the zombies, and the zombies will kill you. Anyways, speaking of zombies, it does double resist ghost. Other than that, so you don't want to shadow ball a Bidoof. If you do for memes, you sir/ma'am are the greatest human being of all time. But as you see here, it's only 10k dust for a second move. But again, you don't really need a second move. Tackle and Hyper Fang are just fine. Shiny Bidoof did release, so as you see here, the shiny version is just like, yeah, it's like gold. It definitely takes care of its skin a lot more. As you see here, its hide is shinier, and it's not too much of a difference. I mean, in all seriousness, it's not really. It's literally like you literally can't like the beak. Its beak is like red, and then it looks like Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, but its like nose is like pink instead of like red. So I don't know if that's an accurate description. Anyways, but this is Bidoof in a nutshell, and it's amazing. It's like I said, it's an absolute freaking god, a god of gods, the world of worlds. Alright, now if you're wondering for takedown or tackle, the reason why you want to run tackle is a one-turn move and it generates 2 energy. So if you play the Little Cup, you know how Tackle Bronzong basically destroyed the world. Yep, Bidoof is going to destroy the world. Takedown's a 5-turn move, and it does 8 energy. So just, if you do the math, it kind of adds up to where pretty much you get 10 energy for 1 tackle. Tackle's also a 1-turn move. So if someone tries to sneak a charge move on you with their 1 HP in a Dream Bidoof, that's not going to happen. You know why? Because Tackle's a 1-turn move. And 1-turn moves take priority over charge moves. So, again, use Tackle. As far as charge moves go, the reason why Hyper Fang and Grass Knot would be the best moveset, or just Hyper Fang in general, as you see here, it's 50 energy. Hyper Fang and Grass Knot only cost 50, are literally its lowest costing charge moves in 50 energy. Shadow Ball is, of course, if you use Shadow Ball a lot, 55 energy. Thunderbolt is also the same amount of energy as you see here. And for Ice Beam, which is another move, Ice Beam also is the same energy. So everything is like 55 energy. So Grass Knot and Hyper Fang are its lowest energy. You want Tackle and Hyper Fang. That's the moveset you want to run. As far as like rankings go, yes, there's actually pvpoke.com rankings. You don't need a Shadow Bidoof, so before you think you need to go medieval and Bidoof needs to go Joker mode, no, it's not going to happen. You don't really need one. But statistically, just as interest, of course, the Bidoof Cup is, as you see here, the 100% attacker, consistent, lead, closer, and everything. It's a god in its own cup, and it's a god in its own right. But, again, you don't really... Though what's going to happen is... The biggest question here isn't whether Bidoof is a god or not, because we already know that. The question is, do IVs matter? And yes, they do. Alright, so for those of you know that you probably skipped to this part, this is the pvpoke.com matrix. This is where IVs objectively matter. So, if you go down here, as you see, Bidoof's IVs actually do matter, which is hilarious. So, there are break and bulk points depending on what your IVs are. I'm going to go into that. YTX did provide us with a chart, which is super specific, but basically, in a nutshell, it will show you what you do. But this is just a matrix real quick. As you see here, there is a bulk / break point and attack break point. So high attack Bidoof, there's some justification, as you see here, just because of, just because of bulk break points, and there's a bulk point as well, which is why takedown or high attack Bidoof can actually do some damage. But you honestly don't want to use a high attack Bidoof. You just want to use the highest rank you can, just because pretty much in a mirror match like this, the thing that's going to really matter is who can get tackles through like the 2 charge moves. Just because you're only going to have 2 shields, your Bidoofs are all both going to be at literally the same rate. So the key is going to be able to get tackled through fast moves. So that's really going to be what's going to be the ultimatum for charge moves. And so winning CMP doesn't really matter as well, because because both of you are going to get the same energy, you're only going to have a convincing win, as you see here, unless your opponent is using takedown. So a tackle Bidoof will beat a takedown Bidoof. So that's the only thing. If your opponent is mistakenly using takedown or forgets TM it, you could pretty much consider it a W, because you're going to definitely win that matchup. As you see, it's the same scenario for everyone, the 0 shield, the 1 shield, etc. No matter which moveset you are using. Yeah, no matter which moves you're using. Preferably Hyper Fang, like I mentioned, Hyper Fang, as you see here, takedown Hyper Fang. this is the moveset you want. You just want Hyper Fang. In the zeros, it basically comes down to, it's like I said, it basically comes down to is who's going to get tackles through which of your 2 charge moves, whether it be like whichever one you do have. If your opponent isn't running Grass Knot and they accidentally fire like Shadow Ball or whatnot, you can guarantee you're probably going to win that matchup just because of the 5 energy. Every little detail in a Mirror Cup like this actually matters, so just really depends. But as you see here, again, Takedown is not the preferred moveset. Tackle Bidoof, you don't want a high attack one. Yes, you win CMP, but winning CMP doesn't really matter. As you see here, there's really no objective point. As far as attack either, if you want to get really super specific into it, yes, the attack stat does give you a huge breakpoint, as you see here. But again, this is Takedown. This is against Takedown Bidoofs. Not, you want Tackle. Use Tackle. Tackle. Tackle is the best moveset. Tackle, Hyper Fang, or Grass Knot. Just use, or Tackle and just Hyper Fang, to be honest with you. Alright, so here's a chart from ytxpikachu. Again, please follow ytxpikachu on his socials, as you see right here. Just follow. Again, a far better analyst and like someone that actually loves math and programming. I hate math. I like programming, but I hate math. But as you see here, so this is a little history lesson. So you'll see charts like this too for like IVs as well. So these little pie charts you see here for IVs, do you see this little block right here? So where this connects, as you see here, this is where it actually, like, you'll see the bulk slash breakpoint. Sometimes they have these charts breaking down or spreadsheets breaking down to like attack or just IVs. So you'll see like attack like right here, defense or whatever. This is just a really specific one since we're just analyzing Bidoof. But for future charts, again, if you look at something like this in the future, this little divide you see here, if they code it correctly or if the cells are, if it's a very organized spreadsheet, will tell you what your break and bulk points are. As you see here, this breakpoint is literally between like 12 point, like there is a breakpoint for Bidoofs, but it's so ungodly specific that just use a high IV. Seriously, depending on which combination you face with each other, it's not worth it. If you are trying, well, obviously a God Bidoof is a perfect Bidoof, of course, but Bidoof for this cup must not be perfect. As you see here, the best Bidoof for IVs is 0.1614 or 0.715. So listen to the master of listen to the master of analysis. Just use a high rank and don't worry about it. And I totally agree with that. This is going to hurt your head a lot, so it's not really worth looking at. If you are going to participate in this cup, you probably aren't considering climbing. What it's going to come down to is literally IVs. That's probably going to be one of these things. And 2, whether or not you can get like tackles or takedowns through your opponent's charge moves. Obviously, Tackle Bidoof beats takedown, as you saw in the chart. There is some justification for using takedown, however, because if you do get a takedown through charge moves, it can matter per se, but you have such an obscenely high rating, just use Tackle. In all seriousness, just use Tackle. So in a sense, also high attack Bidoofs, again, it doesn't really matter if you win CMP or if you have attack weight Bidoof, because it's gonna kind of just balance out. If you have an attack weight Shadow Bidoof, again, doesn't have a lot of HP. Bulk is king, so depending on IVs and how calculated formulations and all that other crap, doesn't really matter. So again, just use the highest rank you have and don't worry about it. Do you want to use Shadow Bidoof in this cup versus the regular one? It doesn't really matter, per se. It would really depend on, like, IVs, but at the same time, again, as you see here, there is a bulk point with your defense. 62.3, which is this one right here, that will protect you against Shadow Bidoof's attack, like a high attack weight Shadow Bidoof. But again, this is so IV specific, just use the highest rank you can. It's incredibly unlikely your opponent has any of these IVs right here. And even if they do, depending on usually if you get like 2 Bidoofs with high ranks, probably won't kill each other very fast. In other words, it's literally going to be who lags the most or who's able to get tackles through fast moves, etc. It's a pretty nutty meta. Well, the only meta allowed is the God, which is Bidoof. But yes, just get the highest rank you can. Use Tackle, not Takedown. Don't worry about it. And again, IVs are just way too specific that unless it's like a really like to the T, it's not gonna matter at all. And that's GG. So now you know everything you need to know for the Bidoof Cup. The actual God Cup, you know, like if Rafiki raises you into the sky, that is, if you see Rafiki in his arms, that's not Mufasa, that's not Simba, it's freaking Bidoof, okay? And it's amazing, and yes, that was a reference from one of the best movies of all time. Anyways, I really do appreciate you guys. I appreciate you so much because we finally hit 2K subs. And it was really nuts because, you know, like, it's only taken 3 months compared to a whole year. It took me it took me about, like, 7 months of consistently uploading, but I started the channel, or revamped the channel, about in a year, and then it took me 1K, and then it took only 3 months to get to 2K, so looking forward to the end of the year. I didn't really have any goals set for the, like, that was my, 2K was the end of my year goal, so the fact that I hit it 3 months earlier, I'm kind of stunned, and I really do appreciate all your support. I appreciate all my subscribers, like I said, I appreciate all of you, and if you already subscribed, I do appreciate you. I do so much. If you aren't subscribed, though, if you would like to, and support my goal of 3K by the end of the year, because I think that's my newest goal, is 3K subs by the end of the year, and seeing as I made it so fast, thanks to all your support, we might get. I'll see if we'll get there. But anyways, I'm just happy to have met a year goal way earlier than expected to do. So I appreciate all you guys again. And if you haven't subbed it, if you would like to, on the bottom right there, there's a little box that says subscribe. If you put your mouse over it, you can easily subscribe, because what we'll do is pop up the subscribe tab, and then poof, you can click on it, and poof, you can subscribe. Anyways, I really do appreciate you guys. Again, the Bidoof Cup is hilarious. Don't sweat about it. Just use the highest rank you possibly can, because even if you have the best IVs possible, if it's such a headache to calculate specific IV matchups, unless it's like something that dominates. For example, if you have a G-Fist versus a Alola Ninetales will normally lose the 2 shield. However, if your A9's attack is high enough, you can actually win straight Weather Ball. So there's actually a few little tips and tricks there, depending on like but again, that's dependent on both Pokemon's IVs. The matchups are so specific, it's not really worth hurting your head over. So if you are going to participate in this cup, just have fun, use the highest IV you possibly can, and hope and pray your opponent is running takedown instead of tackle. Because if you watch this video, or if you've read any content or YTX's data, you already know you have a leg up ahead of the competition, and your god will be mightier and bigger than Loki or Thor or Athena, or I actually didn't like history class, so I don't know how I know all that. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. I do appreciate you. Hopefully you have fun at Bidoof Cup, because I had a few friends ask me, like, hey, what's Bidoof's optimal IVs? And here's our answer right here. If you watch this video, again, you are way ahead of the competition, and you will have a god mightier than the other gods, if you choose to go so forth. Other than that, the shiny's still really sweet. If you want to go for it, by all means, go right ahead. I won't go too hard for it, but I would like a shiny Bidoof. Anyways, again, good luck on your Go Battle sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.
Ciao!